Hey there everybody, Travis Bowman here. I'm a fingerstyle guitar player and retro video game nerd. The most anticipated game probably of all time has just had a price point announced with $79.99 for the standard edition and $100 for the ultimate edition. Although this is not exactly retro video game related, this is pretty important for the future of video games, so I thought I'd make a video about it, sharing my thoughts about what's going on with Grand Theft Auto 6 right now. So long story short, Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out this November. Pre-orders are now open, but there's a catch. This game does not have a physical disc attached to it, which is just freaking weird, man. And it has been announced that physical copies are coming out with just a piece of paper that has a download code inside of the box. I don't know if you're like me, but I think this is very, very strange. And the internet is going absolutely batshit crazy right now. I got a physical copy. No disc, only a code in the box, but gives me something to open up. What's the point of pre-ordering this if it's digital? Am I just crazy? Am I the only person that's thinking like this? What is the point of pre-ordering this game? Especially the standard edition. You don't get anything special unless I miss something. Unless you're going all out, spending $100 on the ultimate edition or whatever, you don't really get anything special. So what's the point of pre-ordering it? I can understand pre-ordering it because you want to get that physical disc, and there might not be a lot of them. When the craziness happens when this game actually launches, I can imagine it'll be very difficult to find a physical copy of this game because it's just in such high demand and it's been hyped up so much at this point. But if you can get it digitally, what's the point of pre-ordering a digital game? I don't understand that. Grand Theft Auto 6, the latest installment. You're missing an L there. The latest installment of Rockstar Games' biggest ever franchise will cost $79.99, with a more premium edition costing $99.99. Rockstar said physical copies of the game will contain a code for a digital download for the game inside a box rather than a disc. However, she added the decision made sense from Rockstar's point of view, as it reduces the amount of rebuying and reselling and helps prevent leaks. Please don't pirate our $100 video game about stealing cars. I'm not so sure how legit this article is about somebody from Rockstar saying that they want to limit the amount of rebuying and reselling. No video game developer should ever say that, though. We have the power as consumers to do whatever we want to with our physical items after we sell them. I could go to the store and buy anything at all and put it on the Facebook Marketplace and sell it. That is my right to do so. So why are we talking about limiting that? That seems like a bad idea. Who cares? Standard edition doesn't even come with all the game features. Online is sold separate. You can get it late and not get a disc. Does the code expired? Does anyone knows? I would have been like, here, take my money with a CE. I was expecting some trinkets, an art book, steel book with a disc, a map, a Lucia and Jason statue, and they could have charged like $200 for it. I wouldn't have even questioned the price. A code in a box is such a letdown. So we're pre-ordering an empty box. I'm a casual gamer who hasn't played GTA in years, and I was on the fence about getting it, but since it's digital only, I've lost a lot of interest. I might get it one day if they do a physical or severely discount the digital on a Black Friday or something. It's still gonna sell like crazy. I just pre-ordered Grand Theft Auto 6 Ultimate Edition, and I got $9 off because my $9 Xbox gift card. I see zero reason to pre-order this game. It's not like they're going to run out of digital copies. I gotta see how this game runs. Crazy how people will be posting this shit like it's some achievement. Attention, all video game studios and publishers, you are not Rockstar. Your game isn't GTA. Don't even think about this shit. Here's the really crazy thing. They've convinced all these game reviewers and game-centric websites and journalists to even say that it's a physical copy, when it's not. I mean, do we have different definitions of what a physical copy is? A physical copy to me is an item that you can pick up and put inside of your console and then it plays the game. This is not a physical copy. This is an empty game case that has a piece of paper inside of it with a code that you type in to download the game. You could skip the step and just download the game and pay for it on your console. You don't have to get the physical. It doesn't make sense to me. It really does not make sense to me at all. Now, like most retro video game YouTubers who have a really big passion for physical games, because most of them are cheap. That's the common thing with these retro games. Most of them you can still buy for pretty cheap. It's just the heavy hitters, the more desirable ones, or the rare games that are very expensive. That's what people go back to all the time when they're talking about retro video games. They talk about how it's so expensive to get into retro video game collecting. It's so expensive to get into retro video game consoles. For the most part, though, it's really not that bad. You can get a Sega Dreamcast for under $100 these days. You can get a Sega Saturn and a Nintendo 64. N64s are cheap, man. Find you a free CRT on the side of the road or on the Facebook Marketplace, or ask a friend of a friend, and you can get a CRT and an N64 for not that much money. You know, it's not that expensive. And you can still collect some of the games for most of these consoles. Granted, there are heavy hitters that are fetching a lot of money. But physical gaming is such a huge part of video gaming in general. But physical games has become such a huge part of the video game culture, you know? So I'm thinking that this GTA 6 thing coming out with an empty box with the code is setting a very dangerous precedent for the future. You guys remember this shit right here? Pokopia. Everybody was freaking out just because of what it says right down there. This is a game key card, meaning that the physical game isn't on the cartridge itself. You can see that the card is actually in there. It's in there and it's got the artwork on it. It looks just like a Switch game. But the problem is the game isn't on this cartridge. It's a download code. You physically put it in your Switch, and your Switch says, okay, you bought the game with money, and this is a legitimate trade-off here, so I'm going to let you download the game now. People were really freaking out about that because in the future, there's no telling how this is going to go. You know, if they choose to remove this game from their marketplace, which, I mean, let's be real, they're probably not going to do that because it's a Pokemon game and it's a very, very sought after experience. And Pokemon stuff is always going to be around. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest selling franchise ever on this whole planet. But you get what I'm saying though, right? People were freaking out about this. If GTA and Rockstar can sell you an empty box and people are still going to buy it, then we might have a problem in the future. If people are willing to shell out their hard-earned money for a game that isn't even in the box, they just want to have a case, an empty case. Can you imagine paying that much money just for an empty case? I don't understand this. Mario Kart World, on the other hand, is a physical copy of the game, and yes, you have to download DLC and stuff that's not on this cartridge, but the point is, if you purchase this later on, 10, 20 years down the road, as long as your Switch is working still, and as long as this isn't damaged, it should boot up the game. Now, as far as whether or not it will let you actually play the game without all the patches and stuff, that's a different story. This DLC thing is taking a very unnatural turn, it seems like. I mean, we used to have to deal with the DLC, and we still do. These developers can release a game that is clearly unfinished, and then years later, all of a sudden, we get what we actually thought we were paying for. A good example of that would be No Man's Sky. I remember when that game came out, it was just terrible. Everybody hated it. It was a piece of crap game. And now it's actually really highly rated on Steam for being a great game. So they took that game that was terrible, and with enough patches and DLC and stuff like that, now it's actually a good game. That's also kind of strange to me, and I'm not a big fan of the way that that works. Back in the day when you wanted to play Grand Theft Auto, it's right here. Everything is right here, not to mention the fact that you get a physical disc, you don't have to download anything, and you also get really cool stuff like a map. Every single one of these games in this collection here has its own dedicated map that's pertaining to this specific game in this trilogy. I think even Grand Theft Auto 5 had a map that came with it, so are we just abandoning that now? It's really tough to say at this point because we're still in the first stages. Like I said, the game hasn't even been released yet. It just got announced yesterday with a price point finally. But what I really don't like about this is that people are really easily fooled. They're really, really easily fooled into thinking that they're getting something that they're not. And what I'm talking about, of course, is the comparison between the standard edition and the ultimate edition. What it really should be labeled as is the light version and the full game, because that's exactly what's happening here, and people don't even see that. The ultimate edition, that's the full game. And I know that most of what you're missing out on are cosmetics and stuff like that, but you're also missing out on vehicles in a Grand Theft Auto game. And it's hard to say at this point, but it's looking like that if you don't purchase the Ultimate Edition, there are certain vehicles that you just won't be able to get, which is insane to me. That is insane. I mean, you made this game, and we should have access to get everything that you have to offer in that game without being stuck behind a paywall, but that's kind of how games are these days, unfortunately. And even some of my friends are saying, yeah, I'm probably going to get the Ultimate Edition. And it's just because this game has been hyped up for so freaking long. And, you know, we've had release dates that have come and gone, and it's gotten pushed back and pushed back. It needs more development time, more time in the oven. And now here we are. It's about to come out, and we know where we stand, how much money we have to spend to get the full experience. But that honestly does bother me a little bit, that they're using this language that we're all so used to, you know, like the standard edition and then the Ultimate Edition. That's not what this is. What this is the light version, and then you have the full game. And one of them is $80 and the other one's another $20 at $100. I could go on and on just like any other YouTuber could about DLC and patches and games being released in a broken state and how frustrating that is. But mainly what I'm concerned about is the precedent that's being set here. We've got this game coming out, and I can see several other developers in the future saying, well, GTA 6 did it, so we could do it too. And what I'm talking about, of course, is releasing a physical copy without a physical item to put into your console, without the game being on that physical item, whether it be a cartridge or a disc. And this is kind of scary. I think gaming is changing in ways that we've never seen before. Obviously, with everything going on in the world right now, video game consoles are rising in price over time instead of falling. This is one of the first times that's ever happened in history. Think about, you know, the Sega Genesis or the Super Nintendo. Back in the day, those consoles went down in price over time instead of rising. And now we're seeing the exact opposite of that happen, and that's kind of scary. And I'm thinking with everything going on with AI and everything, technology is becoming more expensive in general. We're talking about SSDs, we're talking about RAM, PCs. This is getting kind of freaky, and I just really miss how DLC worked back in the day. You purchase a game like Sonic 3, and they release another half of the game called Sonic and Knuckles, and this right here attaches onto this, and then you've got another game built into the game that you already purchased. That was so cool. And I realized that cartridges are long gone, and we're into the digital age now where everything is so much larger. Every game is just so much larger now in size compared to what they used to be. And I think that that might be a weapon used against the consumer. Well, these games are just so big now, we can't fit them on the physical discs anymore, so you just have to download them all. That's the future that I'm worried about. And I'm not necessarily worried about it just for my sake. I'm worried about it for the future. Get out of here, you motherfucker. And I've told my friends, I've kind of joked with them, like, when physical games are non-existent anymore and you can't afford the digital games because they're all locked behind a subscription fee, just like Netflix or Hulu or HBO Max or Disney Plus, you can always come over to my place and enjoy some physical games, because that's why I got into this. I want to preserve all of these video games. I want to preserve the history of them. I want to collect the ones that mean the most to me just because I like having them. I like being able to physically pull them off of a shelf, put them in the console just like we always used to do back in the day. As far as this game actually goes, it's too early to tell. And this isn't really a video on the topic of the gameplay or anything like that, because obviously we haven't seen any of it yet. I'm just really concerned about the future of video games and access to them. When Netflix and Hulu came around, we were all like really excited about that, because before that you had to pay for all these different television packages, you know, like AT&T Uverse or something like that, or Comcast or whatever, where you have like 500 channels, and realistically you're never going to watch them all. You're only going to watch like maybe 5 or 10 channels, but you had to pay for everything. And then Netflix came out and they were like, just pay a lot less than that and you get all these movies and stuff. And that was fine for a while, but then we started to realize, once all these other competitors came out, like Hulu and now Disney Plus, that giant conglomerate came out, it's basically the exact same thing as it was before. You still have to pay a lot of money, only your money has been divided up into several sections that go to different sources, such as Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO Max, Netflix. And now people are just throwing their hands up in the air and going back to physical movies and DVDs and stuff again, which is really crazy to see. But I'm all here for it, man. That's really cool to see, actually. VHS is making a comeback for some reason. I'm seeing a lot of parents get CRT televisions with VCRs and going out and buying these Disney movies instead of contributing to that Disney Plus, paying that monthly subscription fee, which admittedly is rising all the time. It's nice to see that. And I would love to see people vote with their wallet in that other direction, but this is just an uphill battle that we probably will not win. Grand Theft Auto is too strong, man. It's too powerful of an enemy to fight against, and everybody wants this game, myself included. I would like to check it out. Granted, I didn't play Grand Theft Auto 5 as much just because I didn't like the aspect of having 3 different people to follow around and play as, 3 different protagonists. It just wasn't for me. I mean, I really like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Grand Theft Auto 4 was okay, but I'm slowly seeing myself like fall off the Grand Theft Auto train. I've lost interest in it over time. This game might bring me back, I don't know, but I think I'm probably going to hold out for a physical copy if I do purchase this game at all. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts about the price point of Grand Theft Auto 6 and its lack of an actual physical edition. Are you going to pick it up? Are you going to buy the gimped physical edition that's just a case with a piece of paper inside of it? Or are you going to get it digitally? Or are you going to be really patient and hold out for a true physical copy if we ever get one? Let me know the answers to all those questions in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video and for subscribing, and I'll catch you guys at the very next video. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.